Hey everyone, there you are. So good to see all of your faces. Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, 100 people on here already. Look at you guys. All right, well, I needed some hype music today because it's been a long day. I don't know if anyone else. So let's see. Okay, if you are joining, we're gonna keep letting people in and share where you are watching from. I see so many of my favorite people. Oh my gosh, yay. This is so fun. Look at, we have Virginia, Scottsdale, Maryland, Charlotte, my kitchen. I love that. That's the perfect place. Alaska. Okay, it would be really cool to see if we have all 50 states represented. I think we have a lot of them so far. So fun. Okay. So share in the chat if you are just joining, share where you're watching from. We are going to get started in just a few minutes. Oh my gosh, this is so cool to see. We have Canada in the house, Vermont, my car. That's a great place to be watching as well, Christine. Cool that you're in Chicago, Sarah. It's one of my favorite cities, Midwest girl here. Yes, I love all of you who are multitasking, making dinner, doing mom things, all of that. Amazing. Okay, cool. Well, we are going to get started in just a few minutes. So here is what I want to do. I know there's still going to be more people joining, so I don't want to get too much into the goods until we have everyone here. But I'm going to give you a little rundown of how tonight is going to go, because as you probably know, this is the official kickoff for what we're calling the Finish Strong Challenge. So I already know something about all of you by the fact that you're here, that you want to finish the year strong. So I just want to hear in the chat, tell me what that means to you. What does it mean to you to finish the year strong? I want to hear some of your responses. And then in just a few minutes, I am going to give you a rundown of what we're going to talk about tonight. And then we are going to get this party started. So let's see. Sarah said, achieving my goals that I set for the year. Yes. Feeling proud. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Intention, pour my energy into building a group health coaching program. Ooh, that's so exciting. I love this. Launch my course, launching my business, signing 2 clients. Okay, I love, some of you already have an idea of what your big goal is going to be. That's going to be crucial. So we will get to that in a few minutes. Let's see. Darcy said to her, it's being so close to leaving her corporate job. That is so exciting. Oh my goodness, to not quit. That is probably my favorite answer. I love that. Growing in my business, growing in sales. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, I am going to go back and read all of these at the end because these are amazing. And if you came to this challenge not really sure what finishing strong even means, but there was just something in you that said, yeah, I really want to finish this year strong, then you are in the right place. And I want you to know that no matter how this year started for you, I do believe that it's how we finish that matters. So is there anyone here, just really honest, who maybe this year started off a little rocky? Is there anyone that just share in the chat if that's you? Number one, I want everyone here to see that you're so not alone. And I think sometimes, myself included, we can be so damn hard on ourselves. And I don't know about you, but beating myself up over missed expectations or a rocky start to the year or the month or the week, beating myself up for that has never, ever given me more confidence, more clarity, more momentum. Can I just get an amen? Why do we do that to ourselves? And so no matter how this year started for you, this training is going to spread over 3 calls over the next week, about a week and a half. And my intention is for this something that relates to relates to your career, or maybe it relates to a passion project that you really feel you could start in order to impact people who have been through similar things to what you've been through. So when we talk about big ideas, yes, there are a lot of us here that are entrepreneurs, and that's awesome. I love entrepreneurs. I spend most of my time mentoring entrepreneurs. And as much as I love business, we have to remember that if you're not there yet, if you wouldn't even call yourself an entrepreneur, this is just as much for you as well, because you might make your mark on the world through something else, through your career, through a passion project, through something you find your way into years from now. So I'm really excited to dive in to this challenge, which we designed specifically right on the heels of our live event. How many of you were in the room or watching virtually for Powerhouse Women 2021? Let's hear it. I'm like, I see so many hands waving. Yes, and hand taps. Love it. It was, anyone else just like still not over it? I don't know that I'll ever be over it. And don't worry, if you missed it, we just want you to be in the room next year. Like this is something that you can totally ride the wave of the excitement we are bringing to this call. And you don't even have to feel like you missed out. So what often happens after an event, and tell me if anyone else has been there before, after a live event, I feel like I'm like this, and then there's like this little hump, and then before too long, if I'm not mindful of it, it feels like I kind of just get back into old routines, maybe back around the same people that I was around before. And I look back a few weeks later and I'm like, gosh, what did I learn? What was it that I was gonna put into action? I can't even remember, or life happened and then I didn't actually put those things into action. Okay, glad to know I am not alone in feeling that way. So we wanted to support everyone with this totally free challenge, giving you a structure to take the big ideas that maybe you came up with at the event, or maybe you found your way here through a Facebook ad or another way you weren't at the event, but you've got some big ideas that you want to take some serious action on between now and the end of the year. And when I looked at the calendar, where we were going to be coming out of the event, I was like, September 23rd, which is our second call, it's this Thursday, is exactly 100 days until the end of the year. Isn't that crazy? This was like the fastest, longest year ever. I think that, this year and this last 2 years has just been a roller coaster for a lot of us. So I'm a big believer that we can kind of go into this last 100 days in two ways. We can kind of just let life happen to us, or we can take charge and really use the time that we have, this beautiful life we've been gifted, to really make some serious progress toward our big ideas. Now, I want to preface that by saying something we will talk about tonight is we're going to show you exactly how to make this work for you. So some of you might really have a lot of space in the next 100 days to completely crush your goals, make yourself so proud, and move some serious action forward. Some of you might have a lot of mom life. Any moms here? Let's hear it. Okay, I see like about half the hands. You might have a lot of family commitments. Maybe you're working. Anyone else here working a full-time job while also pursuing your business? Yeah, so you might have career obligations. You might have so many things that are really asking for your time. And if you're honest, that's not something that's ever really going to change. And so this is designed to teach you the exact formula we use within Powerhouse Women to take a really, really big goal and break it down into manageable action steps. The key word there being manageable. Because here's what I believe, that confidence comes, like true confidence, comes from making and then keeping promises to ourselves. And so often I think, again, if we fell off track and if we start to lose momentum, we make that about us. We make it personal, like I failed. No, we just got off track. So I'm going to teach you how to take a really big goal, break it down into manageable action steps, how to fight through some of the mindset things that are inevitably going to show up. They will. And how to create some serious momentum going into not just the end of the year, but the beginning of next year. Does that sound good? I'm so excited. I totally forgot, you guys. I made you slides. I made you like an official presentation. So hold on one sec. And let me make sure I have the right thing pulled up. Anyone else? This is like indicative of my life right now. Anyone, be honest, have way too many tabs open on your computer at this very moment? We should do like a challenge. This is actually perfect. This is going to fit right into what we'll talk about tonight. Why we want to have our lives and businesses a little bit more organized than that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this will let me. And then I'm going to show you, we're going to get to it because I really wanted to make sure that we had some structure for this, because there's so much that we can go over, but I want to keep this really manageable. I want to keep it tangible. I want to give you like a really solid structure so that when you get to those moments in your life, that life is busy, you have minimal time to work on your big ideas. So you can always come back to this and have a structure to work with even the teeniest little pockets of time in your calendar. The lovely Hannah, who is our COO of Powerhouse Women, did drop a link to the worksheets. So we made you beautiful worksheets to accompany this challenge. For those of you who really like tactile, like you like to handwrite notes and things like that. So feel free to pull those up if you didn't get a chance to download them before this call. And just know that if you are getting the emails for the challenge, you'll also find them linked there. So you could always print them later. So let's get into the goods, because this is going to be so much fun. So for tonight, we're going to spend the first 45 minutes or so on the topics tonight, which I'll tell you what they are in just a second. And then at the end, we are going to break everyone out into breakout groups for just a few minutes. If you've been a part of our Girl Gang Connection calls, you know exactly how these roll, but this is going to be a chance. Not only I want you to learn here, but I also want you to start to create your support structure and find like-minded people who are on this journey with you so that you don't feel alone. Because if you have been around Powerhouse Women for a while, you already know our motto here is that you are not meant to do business or life alone. And I firmly believe that. So we're going to break you out into breakout sessions. Don't worry about that. You don't have to be like prepared or camera ready or anything. It's just a beautiful opportunity to connect with some like-minded women. So we'll do that at the end. And here's the other really fun thing that we're doing with these calls. We wanted to incentivize those of you who are showing up live for yourself, for your big ideas. I even had our beautiful Karen said that she rearranged her husband's birthday dinner so that she could be here live. That's like next level commitment. And your precious husband, just thank him for sharing you with us tonight on his birthday. So I know so many of you had to move life things around in order to be here live, and we're going to make it so worth your while. Not only are we going to share this epic training, but at the end, we are going to do a giveaway on each one of the 3 calls. So tonight's giveaway is an annual membership to our Girl Gang membership community. It's a monthly membership. We share amazing resources, training. We do a monthly connection call, much like this, to help you move the needle in your business or your big idea. And tonight, we're going to be giving away an annual membership for a whole year. It's worth $300, and you have to be present to win, which means, yes, you're probably seeing where I'm going here. You have to stay to the end. So we're going to announce that live. And while it'll be somewhat random, here's what I'll tell you, wink, wink. The more you actually participate, the more you connect in the chat, cheer each other on, the more you're interacting, sharing this on your Instagram story and tagging Powerhouse_women, that just may or may factor into the decision of who wins the prize. So tonight we're giving that away. Next call, we'll be giving away another annual membership to the Girl Gang, plus a one-on-one strategy call with me, meaning you and I will connect on Zoom. We'll talk all about your big idea, give you some action steps to move forward. Those are like my favorite things to do in the entire world. And I really don't get to do those outside of our mastermind. So I'm super excited to offer a one-on-one call to one of you. That'll be on Thursday's call. And then probably the one we're most excited about is on the final call, which is on the 28th of September, we are giving away a scholarship to our signature 12-week business mentorship program, which is called Six Figure School, and a MacBook computer. We're literally setting you up with everything you need to launch or grow your big idea. So here's the deal. You do have to attend all the calls in order to be eligible for those prizes. So you can't skip any, you got to be here live. And really the reason we did that is because I know the power of committing to something and seeing it through. So I know you might have to move some things around to be here live. You might have to figure out how to work it into the nooks and crannies of your life. And I want you to see that no matter what comes up, you can do that. Because if you can do it to show up 3 times for these calls, just think about what that's going to show you you're capable of in order to show up for your big idea. So all of this is really intentional to set you up to win when it comes to making your big ideas a reality. So I'm like getting so distracted because I want to read all of your amazing comments in the chat. You guys are the best. I already love the energy. Keep bringing this. This is totally going to play into our giveaways, and I'm so super excited to see who wins. So tonight, here's where we're going. We're talking all about how to create a vision for your life, for your business, for your big idea that inspires you, and how to create goals that absolutely do stretch you, that make you better, that force you to grow, but not so big that they completely paralyze you. So how many of you are guilty, just like me, of setting goals that are like so big, and then I'm not really sure like how to get there, so I do nothing? Anyone? Okay, I have like some really, really big goals for my life, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, not even sure where to start on that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all of this. We're gonna talk about how do you start breaking your goals down into those manageable action steps that I talked about. And we're gonna start that process tonight, really go into the next step, dive deeper in the next call. And then of course, we'll bring it home in call 3. We're also gonna talk about how to overcome imposter syndrome. How do you overcome overwhelm in order to make the impact that you know you're meant to make? The mindset piece, we cannot avoid. It's inevitable. I really thought like when I started my business, which I've been an entrepreneur for about 10 years, I started Powerhouse Women a little over 5 years ago. 0 people knew who I was, and I was writing a book. And I'm going to share more about that process and how this all started, because it's going to play into exactly what inspired this free challenge and what we're going to teach you. So I'm so excited to dive into this, and I don't want to wait any longer. So here's really the question of the night. The question is, what's a goal that if you accomplished it by the end of this year, you would feel so proud of yourself? Like, what's something that, yes, you can totally see yourself doing it between now and December 31st, right? In the next 102 days, but it also kind of stretches you. It forces you to think a little bit differently, a little bigger than you might otherwise think. Now, if you already kind of know what yours is, feel free, you can share that in the chat. If you're not sure yet, or if you're not sure, you're thinking, maybe I could stretch myself a little bigger. We're going to talk about that. But those of you who already have an idea of what the one goal, and I'm going to force you to pick one, at least for the purpose of this challenge, one goal that you want to complete by the end of this year that would make you feel so freaking proud of yourself. Let's see. Clarita said, release my physical journal. Ooh, that's so exciting. Christine, 10 paid in full clients. Yes. Decorate our house and finally sell $1,000 each month. Annika said, okay, these are so good. And I love, Gloria said, too many goals. Amen, sister. Okay, don't worry. We're going to talk about all of this. This is so good. And maybe tell me if you are sitting there and you're like, gosh, I don't know, I'm kind of struggling to come up with my goals. Tell me that too. Tell me what's getting in the way or what's feeling like a lack of clarity for you, because we're going to go into all of this. Oh my goodness, these are so good. Okay, I love all of these. It seems like a lot of you already have a good idea of the thing that you would make you feel really, really proud. And here's what I want to start with. We're going to kind of talk about the mindset piece first, because if we don't, you might go into the action planning part and be stopped by this feeling like, who am I? Who am I to launch this course? Who am I to launch this podcast? Who am I to do that big, scary thing that I know in my heart I'm meant to do? So I want to start off just with this very simple statement. And this is something I really had to learn over time, that your big ideas really should make you feel a little bit like an imposter. I love this question. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for asking. What is imposter syndrome? Let's talk about it. So imposter syndrome is that feeling of, gosh, like, who am I to do that? I don't belong here. Who am I to launch that business? Who's going to listen to me? So it's that feeling that you're kind of out of your league. Anyone ever felt that? Like, you go to take a step toward your big idea and you're like, I do not belong here. I remember when I was writing my book, some of you have heard this story. If you were at the event, I talked about this. When I started writing a book, I was not a writer, like total imposter syndrome to the next level. I didn't think I had anything that people would want to read. I was worried people would judge me. I had a blog for 3 years, and some of you remember this story. I published 3 articles in 3 years, 1 article per year, because I was so afraid to put myself out there. I really had it like I was not a writer. So imposter syndrome is that feeling that kicks in when you feel like, I'm not this, I'm not qualified, but I want to do this. Like, I know I feel this burning desire in me to do this thing, but I have no evidence that I can. And I really, really believe that if you are thinking big enough, you actually should feel a little bit of that imposter syndrome. Otherwise, let's think about the opposite. If you only pursue things that you're like, yeah, I've totally got that handled. Like, honestly, anyone else really love to only do things that you know you'll be good at? This is like truth time. So here's what I want you to know. I played that game for the first 33 years of my life. And I was really restless and I was really frustrated. And I think that the thought behind it was, you know, I've got to wait until I have this figured out. I have to wait until I have more confidence. I have to wait to take that first step until I can see the first 1,000 steps. And it was all a trap. It was all really just a cover up for the fact that I didn't want to get uncomfortable. But what I found was that everything that I wanted and so much more stood on the other side of taking that step into the unknown, into something that I was like, I actually don't know if I'm going to be good at this, but let's just see. Let's see what's on the other side. And what you see today, as far as Powerhouse Women, what you see, you know, are with thousands of women in this community globally. We have a top podcast. We sell out events every year. And I am no freaking different than any of you. I just one day decided I was really sick and tired of playing small, playing smaller than I knew I was capable of. And playing bigger meant stepping into that feeling that I was an imposter. And I think that what helped me work through it, that I really want to gift to you, and I'm going to give you 2 things here, but there's a third, we'll give you a bonus that I think needs to precede it. I want you to realize that all that imposter syndrome is, really all that it is you noticing the gap between where you are now and where you see yourself in the future. Because if you already were that person, you would already have that result. Like, if I already knew I was an amazing writer, I'd probably already had a book already. But I didn't know that about myself. So the gap, all that means is that's my opportunity to grow. So it's not a bad thing to feel like an imposter. If I keep taking action only in the realm of what I know I'll be good at, how could I ever find other things that maybe I'm great at, or maybe are a really big part of my purpose that I wasn't even willing to consider. So the first thing is to realize it's not a bad thing to feel like an imposter. In fact, I think, mark my words, if you don't feel that tiny hint of imposter syndrome, if there's not even the shadow of a doubt, like, can I do this? I don't think you're scratching the surface of what you're actually capable of. Let me say that one more time. If you don't feel the tiniest hint that, I don't know, no clue if I'm actually cut out to do this. If you don't feel at least a little bit of that, you're not scratching the surface of what you're capable of. And that's a pretty cool realization, because if you can stand in that and you can keep moving toward the thing that really scares you, you are unstoppable. And you're going to make a bigger impact on more people than you can even imagine right now. So that's the first thing to remember when you're starting to feel that imposter syndrome. That's why community like this, we're actually going to talk about building community around you in call 3, but that's why it's so important. Because every time I feel like a huge imposter, I turn to my friends who are also doing big things. And I'm like, yeah, you feel, okay, yeah, me too. Great, we're not alone. Let's keep going. But the other thing is to ask yourself this question. So often when I'm in imposter syndrome, I'm really afraid of like the worst case scenario. Like, will people judge me? Will this fail? Am I enough? Am I going to find out that maybe I'm really not enough? So I'm focusing on the worst case scenario when I can just as easily ask myself a better question. And that question is, what's the best that could happen? Because honestly, we're making both of them up anyway, right? Best case scenario and the worst case scenario are fictional scenarios in the future that have not happened yet. So why not bring my mind back to what actually empowers me more, which is the best case scenario? What's the best that could happen? Maybe I can impact one life. Maybe, I'll be recognized for my achievements. Maybe I'll get the opportunity that I've always wanted, but I just feel like I keep missing out. And yeah, Kimberly, I am with you. The fear of being judged is the absolute worst. For me, that was actually the one I had the hardest time moving through. But this, you really perfectly set me up for this next one. Here's what I would focus back on. Is this about me impressing someone, or am I here to make an impact? And every time I would have paralyzing, like I want to underline, highlight, draw stars around that I had this paralyzing fear of what other people would think when I finally released this book. Were people going to think I was full of myself? Were people going to think I didn't know anything? Such paralyzing fear of what other people were going to think. And every time I would be in the writing process and I would just close my eyes and I would think about even just one woman who I knew that maybe, just maybe, if I could help her, this would all be worth it. So like, yeah, that really judgy person on the internet who actually isn't the demographic that I want to serve, maybe they won't get it. Maybe they won't understand. Maybe they will judge me or have thoughts. But am I here to impress them, or am I here to make an impact? And every single time, literally through ugly tears, because it doesn't mean that just snaps me out of imposter syndrome, but it gives me the courage to keep moving forward, even when the weight of imposter syndrome is literally just so heavy. So I want you to know, if you are really in for this game called making an impact, and I know so many of you are, you don't show up on a call for an hour or more on a weekday night if you're not here to make an impact, or if you don't feel even just that little hint that, yeah, maybe there is more for you. Then if you want to make that impact, it's going to require us to lean into that feeling of imposter syndrome more than we probably want to. But I can also tell you that it gets easier with time. Now I kind of like give that imposter syndrome a little wink and I'm like, well, come on. I actually just filmed a reel for you guys, just coming soon. I was telling Hannah, I just find myself so funny and amusing, but I made this really great reel and you'll just have to wait and see it. So go to my page tomorrow and I will post it for you. But I think it's just important to remember, we all feel this. There's no one who's doing big things and stretching and growing that doesn't feel a hint of this. And that really helped me move forward and start to see on the other side all the benefits and all the blessings that I wanted. So, but if we're going to talk about big ideas, we've got to talk about that first, because otherwise you might default to something that feels safer, something that's not going to stretch you, and something that's not going to make the full impact that you know you're here to make. The other piece of this, before we move on, is back to what we were talking about earlier, the fear of judgment. Here's what I really want you to know. How many of you, tell me in the chat, how many of you are at the early stages? Like your idea is like the seed of an idea. Maybe you haven't launched it. It's brand new. It's like a little baby. Or you're in that stage where you're like, I just know there's more for me. I don't even know what that is yet. Okay, so many of you. Oh, I love you so much. I'm getting chills because I just remember being in this exact same place. So here's what I want you to know and to remember, okay? Plugging into communities like this, it doesn't even have to be Powerhouse Women. Find the community that you feel loved and supported by. I hope it's here, but find the place where you can unapologetically share that idea in a space that supports it. Here's what I mean by that. It is easiest to kill a big idea when it's in seed form, meaning you can't see the fruit of it yet. It hasn't grown roots. You don't have that structure to stand tall, even despite the judgment you might face, the pushback you might face. If you think about it like a plant, anyone else a plant killer? I have a black thumb. So this is actually something I have a lot of experience in, is killing plants. Okay, good. I'm not the only one. So it's easiest to kill, let's say, an oak tree when it's just a tiny sprout of a seed. You just have to walk by, dig it up, toss it in the trash. Now, if that oak tree has had time to grow roots, and I guess it would have been better if I would have used like a fruit tree example. Let's say an apple tree, right? Because you can see the fruit, you can see the results of you digging in and doing the groundwork to get that idea off the ground. It's way harder to cut that tree down. So it was much easier for me to have someone talk me out of my big idea at the beginning stages, where now if someone was like, Lindsay, you suck, like you shouldn't be doing this, I'd be like, thank you, and God bless, right? I already have the fruit. I'm here for all of you. I'm not really concerned about someone who doesn't understand my mission and my purpose and what they think of it. But in the beginning, that would have taken me out so fast. So I say this to say that it is important to protect who you share your big vision and your big ideas with. And it's why community is vital. So whether it's this one that you plug into, we will welcome you with open arms, or one friend who is on the same journey with you, that you can keep each other remembering why you started until you get to that part where you start to grow some roots and see the fruit of your labor. It's everything. So we're going to be talking a whole lot more about that throughout this training. But since the topic of judgment came up, I wanted to start that conversation here because that's everything. And that's even why we're going to do the breakout sessions at the end. So you can start to meet some of those people that, yeah, it's going to be safe to share your big idea with them. So here's the sweet spot. We're going to kind of shift gears now and start to talk about these big ideas that you have. But I do think that the sweet spot, this is where people get goal setting all wrong. They either kind of go so big they can't see their way there, and then they kind of, it's so far in the future that they disconnect from the excitement when they don't see that thing happen right away. Anyone? I'm like, me. I'm just giving you all my secrets tonight. But I think the sweet spot is, or the other side of it, I should say, is setting goals that are too small. They don't stretch you. They keep you playing in the realm of what you know you're capable of, and you just never grow. And that starts to feel really restless after a while. So I think the sweet spot is right in between. It's having this big vision. Sometimes you're just led by this feeling that you're absolutely meant for more, and you don't even really know where it's going to lead yet. Truthfully, I only see about 6 to 12 months in the future for my vision. I don't have a 10-year vision for what's going to happen for Powerhouse Women. And honestly, had someone asked me what my 10-year vision was 10 years ago, I never could have seen this, would never have shown up on my radar. So it's okay that you don't see the full vision, but lean into that feeling that you are meant for more. see what you can see in terms of setting that next goal that does stretch you a little bit, but then break it into manageable benchmarks that keep you motivated by keeping you moving forward, right? So we're going to talk about tonight exactly how to do that with the big goal that everyone here is going to set and you're going to achieve by the end of this year. So are you ready for this? This is going to be, Hannah's going to be so proud of me for this one. So everyone in the chat, repeat after me. You ready? I will stop keeping big projects in my head. Okay, all together now. I will stop keeping big projects in my head. Here is the first. Oh, you guys are so good. Such good students. I see the chat just blowing up right now. Here is the first step in overcoming the overwhelm and breaking, really having those big ideas become a reality. Is if you're anything like me, I like to keep it all up here. Anyone else? Again, be proud. We can, this is truth time. I love you guys. This is so good. Roseanne's got it in all caps. I feel it. I feel that energy. Yeah, I am so guilty of this. In fact, I'm just going to keep it real with you guys. Up until this year, so we just put on our 5th annual event, one of which was virtual. And until I had an amazing business partner and operations manager in Hannah, I was still keeping the entire event planning process, all of it in my mind. Ooh, that hurts, right? Because how could I ever expect someone to come alongside and help me if I had nothing written down, nothing that I could show them? I know Sonia said, why do we do that? You know what? Again, I'll just share my truth. I think that number one, I wasn't realizing that my big vision was meant to be supported by other people. I'm just going to say that one more time. Your really, really big vision is going to be so big that you physically cannot do it all yourself. That's why we say we're not meant to do business or life alone. But when we're keeping it in our minds, we're choosing to keep it small. We're choosing to. We're choosing to keep it smaller and make a smaller impact than we could make because it gives us control. Anyone else love control? Like, you're just going to know all the things about me after tonight. Yeah. Everyone wants a Hannah now. Yes, you can find a Hannah. You can totally find someone whose gift in life is to help you break projects down. But here's the deal. Hannah can only be empowered to the extent that I'm willing to equip her to be. So this part that we're going to talk about has to come first. She can't do it for me. She can't just plug something into my brain and download everything. I have to set her up for success by making my big vision a reality on paper, whether that's physical paper, whether it's putting it into project management systems. Again, don't get worried about how to do this. That's literally what we're going to next. But we see this so often. In fact, if you listen to the Powerhouse Women podcast, such a great episode dropped today. It's Hannah and I, and it's one of our Q&A episodes, and we talk all about this. I listened to it. I listen to my own podcast sometimes because they're so good. And the stuff that we shared was so crucial, especially to support you in this challenge. But we see it all the time with ourselves, with our mastermind members, the women in 6-figure school, our mentorship program, where we have this big, big idea, but it's so overwhelming because it's all up here. We've never just done that good old brain dump, or we've never just gotten it out, kind of done a verbal vomit where you get all the pieces out so then you can start to organize them. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how to start that process, because I want to bring us back to this quote that I said earlier, that your confidence to keep moving forward, to take the next step when it feels really scary, is going to come from not just making promises to yourself. And by promises, I mean promises to take the next action step. You can't even empower yourself to do that if you don't know what the next action step is, or if you don't see the steps that it's going to take to get you there. And we're going to help you with this. But confidence literally comes from making and then keeping promises to yourself. So we're going to take the first step tonight and talk about how do you start to organize this huge goal in your mind into something that can empower you to move forward. And I'm specifically breaking this up into a few different easy steps, again, so that you can see how to now take this. And I forget who it was in the beginning who said, I have too many goals. Yeah, me too, honestly. But how you can take this and apply it to any goal in your life, whether it's for your business, for your health. It could literally be applied to anything that you want to do. So in your worksheets, I'm showing you on the screen what this worksheet looks like. Gloria, my girl, I feel you. So here's what this worksheet is going to help you to do. So the first step that we're going to have everyone do after you've selected the goal that you want to work on over the next 100 days, you are going to take either this sheet of paper, your phone note section, whatever you want. If you like to visually see it and handwrite it, thank you, Hannah, for dropping the link for the worksheets in the chat again. You're going to first just sit down and literally write everything you could possibly think of needing to be the steps you'd need to take in order to have that goal become a reality. The other thing you're going to do, and I think this is even more crucial, you're going to also write down, here are the things that I don't know right now. I'm going to need to research these, or I'm going to need to ask someone for help. And then I want you to make a list of the people that you could ask for help when it comes to that specific goal. So Jenny, I love that question. You can totally have this be a personal goal. I think that what I want everyone to focus on is just pick one, because some of you are probably like me as well. And one of the ways that you get in your own way is you try to do all of the goals at once. Anyone? Once again, this is just Lindsay telling all the secrets of my own getting in my own way. And Karen, thank you for sharing that podcast too. Yeah, and here's the deal. There are a lot of things in my business that I'm always having to move forward. So it's not like I just completely let everything in my life fall by the wayside, but I want you to practice this specific formula with just one goal to show yourself that you can. Again, the confidence is going to come from making and keeping promises to yourself. So I love it, Laura, continually searching for how to be more productive and do more things at once. Like that, if that doesn't nail it, I don't know what does. And there's a lot of research even behind how task switching and multitasking and trying to do too many things at once, having too many priorities at once, actually slows us down. So can we all agree? I'm like Scout's honor. I don't actually know how that works, but we'll just pretend it's this. Can we all agree? We're going to pick just one goal to focus on between now and the end of the year, and we're going to see that one through. Because the momentum that this will create for you could literally be the game changer you've been waiting for. It doesn't mean that you just let everything else go to the wayside, but allow one thing to be your main priority that you're going to make happen no matter what, and use this exercise in order to start to form your plan around that thing. So again, the first, and this is actually going to be your homework between now and next Thursday, which is our next call, is to fill out this form. If you need more space, print these out, flip it over on the back, write down any and all ideas that come to your mind. I'm going to show you a couple other one other example for how, maybe if you're a more visual person, is anyone else more visual? You can literally do this in whatever way supports you the most. Like if your brain just needs to see things a little bit more visually, maybe you make something more like a mind map. So I did a little example. Actually, in your worksheets, you'll see I did a filled out worksheet for this as an example goal. Like if I wanted to start a podcast, but then I also did, can you guys just make sure you're muted? I also did one where I showed you how it would look if you were doing a mind map. So
where's your black napkin? I think it's so.
Hannah, can you just make sure everyone's muted? So for this, you can either write it out however it works for you. If you really love colorful sticky notes, maybe you just write each idea that you, or each one of the action steps you'd need to take. Maybe you write them all on different sticky notes and then you organize them afterward. We're going to get to the how do you organize all of this into a plan next time, but that's too much. That's too much to try and dive into on one call because you've got to start here. So here's an example. I have a podcast, so I knew the steps that it took me in order to launch this podcast. But when I was first starting, I had no freaking clue. I was like, well, I know I need a microphone, I guess, but then how do I record it like in the computer? How do we get the podcast in the computer? Or like, how do you edit? There were so many things for me. I'm going to go back to the previous slide. So many things for me that would have gone into this list of, I don't know how to do this. I'm going to need to research this or ask someone. Because where we're going to go next week, or I'm sorry, next call on Thursday, is I think for so many of us, we stop because maybe that list of what you don't know that you would need to research is pretty long and it feels intimidating. Okay, great. So maybe your goal for the next 100 days after you do this exercise, maybe you realize, hey, my goal for the next 100 days is to be ready to launch a podcast in January. It's maybe going to take me 100 days, given the schedule that I have, given the work that I have on my plate, just to give myself space to do the research, right? And then, and I love this already, you guys are just the best. People you could ask for help. And already in the chat, people are like, oh, if you want to start a podcast, here, I have a podcast, I'll help you. Here's the key to success. You want to know it? Is that you're not meant to do this alone. That you're not actually meant to have all the skills and all the talents. You're not meant to know even how to take all the steps. Your goal will fast track the more that you ask for and allow people to support you, and the more you ask for help. And I firmly believe that in a community like this, however many women, we have 150 women on this call right now, you are just one bold ask or one strategic question away from anything that you need. So let's say you're like, well, I actually don't know anyone who has a podcast or who has launched a course or whatever it is, fill in the blank for what you want to do. Maybe you're like, I don't know anyone who's done that. Well, then your next step, maybe one of your action steps is, I'm going to, do you like this? I'm going to post in the Powerhouse Women Facebook group and ask, hey, who here has a podcast? Would you be willing to hop on Zoom and allow me to ask you some questions? I promise you, there is nothing that you can't find a connection to or that you couldn't find right in the Powerhouse Women community. That's literally how we designed it. So is everyone clear on your action step for next week? We're going to wrap this by talking one more time just about the goals. I love this. You guys are all supporting each other so much already. I just friggin' love you. So by next time, you're going to have your goals selected. You're going to do your brain dump of, and just list them in any random order. We're not organizing them. We're not putting them in our calendar. We're just saying like, okay, if I want to start a podcast, I know that I'll need to think of some topics I could do episodes on, maybe some guests I could interview. I'm going to need to know all the tech side. If any of you are like me and you get overwhelmed really easily by the tech, all I want you to do is write down what you think it's going to require. That's it. And we're going to show you how to actually make it so easy for you to make it happen in the most simple way. And you can always build from there. Guys, when I launched my first programs, I literally would Google like how to set these up and like how to actually like have someone pay me money. I had no freaking clue. Like I was launching a program that people would buy, and I had no idea. Anyone else get confused by that? I'm like, I don't even know how people pay me money. Like, do they Venmo me, or like, how does this work? So again, there are so many resources right in the Powerhouse community. We can help you, and anything you don't know, just write it down, and then we're gonna help you take it from there. As far as like, if I'm launching a podcast, I need a name for it. I need the little intro music. I need the podcast mic. So this literally took me about 15 minutes to just sit down and brain dump all of the pieces that I would need in order to get myself in a position where I was, ready to start a podcast. So that's all you're going to do. So let's talk kind of to wrap this part up. And then I will take a couple of questions. We'll take about 5 to 10 minutes of questions. And then at about the quarter hour, we're almost at 6:30 Pacific time, we'll do the breakout session. So don't leave, because this might literally be, you might be grouped with someone in a small group that has the answer to what you need. So don't miss this part. So you want to pick a goal, something that is measurable. Measurable means, I'll give you an example. That's maybe an easier way. So maybe your goal is to grow in your confidence. And that's amazing. I love that goal, but it's a little bit hard to measure, right? So like, how do you measure confidence? Well, maybe you'll say, hey, my goal is to grow in my confidence enough that once a week, I'm going to go on Instagram Live and share my message or share something of value. So I want you to do something that actually you can measure whether or not it happened. So something that you can actually, see the results of. I want you to set a goal that stretches you. And this is kind of within the context of the next one. It stretches you to accomplish it in 100 days, but it also aligns with your other life commitments, your other priorities over the next 100 days, right? So I think this is oftentimes where we can do ourselves a disservice, because maybe you see that everyone else is, setting these huge goals, but in this season for you, maybe you've got a lot going on. So your goal needs to be a little bit shrunk down. Like maybe it's step 1 in a 5-step plan, and you can put the rest into action once you have the bandwidth for it. So I firmly believe, you have to work within the season of life that you're in, and be honest with yourself. I think this is where a healthy level of self-awareness really comes in, where I usually know if I'm saying, oh, it's not a good time, or I'm just really busy. We're going to talk about this next time, like the time management piece. Sometimes I was making myself busy so that I didn't have time to do the stuff that really scared me. That's something only you're going to know, right? We're going to talk a lot about saying no so you can say yes to your big ideas. We're going to talk about, I love it. Jen is like, yeah, I'm with you. Okay, good. I'm not the only one. And you just got to be honest with yourself. And I think this is such a beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur. We get the opportunity to really grow and to catch ourselves in the disempowering stories and in the patterns that just don't serve us where we want to go next. So pick something that's measurable. It's going to stretch you, but it also works within your life right now and for the next 100 days. So a reminder, our next call is happening on Thursday, September 23rd. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about the next steps, how to take the work that you did with the worksheet and start to put it into a plan that actually works with your life. And what we're going to do right now, I'll take a few questions. So if you have a question that you want to ask, maybe you want to clarify something, maybe you want a little support around your goal, what you're going to do is at the bottom of the screen, if you're on your computer, and Taylor McGregor, is that a hand raise? Do you not have the hand raise emoji? So if you don't have access to the hand raise, I think some people don't, you can just type question in the chat. Everyone else, what you're going to do, you go down to the bottom of the screen, the little smiley face guy that says reactions. You'll see if you click on that, it says raise hand. I think it's a little different if you're on your phone, and I'm on my computer, so I'm not totally sure where that is. But you can do that. Sorry, I'm looking in the chat right now. Just making sure I don't miss anyone. Okay, so you can do that. You can raise your hand, and we'll have time to get to a few questions, after which, don't go anywhere, because I'm literally going to announce the winner. We have the winner selected already. So excited. And we're going to announce the winner. As long as that person is here, they're the winner. And then we're going to do breakout rooms. So it looks like Christine Bello is up first. So go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
The question I had is, it's kind of, I don't know, shall my goal be like a personal one, or shall my goal be like a business driven one? Because I do the course with you and everything else. Because I have so many daggone ideas that are going through my head ever since meeting you and coming to your event and everything. So my brain is just literally dumping every 5 minutes because I even message you every 5 minutes about it. But I don't know, like, is that realistic, or should I just concentrate on one thing? So
Yeah. Oh, I love this question. And I know Jenny had asked something really similar in the chat before too. Here's what I will say. And I know, I'm like, I see you, because we message all the time just about the amazing ideas that are starting to come. And I think realize that once you kind of like step into this feeling that you're meant for more, the ideas are gonna, like, I kid you not, I message Hannah about every day with a new business idea. And she's usually like, okay, let's put that aside for later. So many ideas. So here's what I want. Anyone else kind of wondering, like, what do I pick personal? Do I pick business? I want you to pick one. There's no perfect goal. The goal in this exercise is to show yourself that you can, to give yourself momentum, and maybe to think about, like, what's the goal that if I picture myself, like if I sit and I close my eyes and I picture myself celebrating like the accomplishment of having reached that goal, I feel so proud, so proud. But I want any of you who are like, anyone like kind of get, what do I want to say? I was like a procrastinator, and that was also like a defense mechanism, because I never got started on things. Yeah, I see some heads nodding. You just got to pick one. It doesn't matter which one it is, just show yourself that you can. And then, you can take that and roll the momentum into the next goal. Cool? I love it. Yes. Yeah. And then we're going to go to Tori's question next. Those of you that are joining us for Six Figure School, we haven't even touched on that. I will talk about it a little bit next week and the following, just for anyone whose goal is around their business. We do have a 12-week mentorship program, and a lot of you girls are in it already. For you, I would say, and this is kind of back to Christine, maybe pick a business related goal, because then you're going to be so set up to roll that into Six Figure School when we start it. So just a thought. Tori, so great to see you.
Hi, it's so good to see you too. It's so good to see so many ladies on here. I was like going through the names and was like, which ones do I recognize from Powerhouse? It's been fun. So my question, I wasn't sure. I had a question regarding, so I'm similar to you, what you were talking about, where like you have all the goals, and I have a friend who's kind of like my Hannah, that's like, Tori, you're at an 100. We need to like dial it down a little bit. What would you say for someone who is like launching their first event? What is like, I guess, like your best piece of advice for someone who's initially starting an event, if that makes any sense?
Yes. Oh, are you kidding? This is like, I'm like, ooh, where do you
yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to talk about. And why don't you give everyone a little bit of context about what your event is? Because we'll make it really personal to you.
Okay, cool. So my best friend and I decided to stay up till 3:30 a.m. on Saturday night. And we were talking with each other, and I was like, Ari, I've tried making an event. Long story short, I was supposed to have an event last weekend, and COVID canceled it because there was a COVID scare. And so I was like, the third time's a charm. And so I told Ariana, I was like, we have to do this together. Like, I think if anyone's familiar with human design, she's a projector and I am a generator. So we work really well together. So anyways, we created this retreat, and it's called the Reset Retreat. So our why behind it is Northern Virginia is so freaking busy. Women are either isolated, staying at home, don't have friends because of COVID, or because they're in the military, their husbands are in the military, or you just graduated college and you don't have your college besties around, and you're like, that was me. Or you're a single mom and you don't know what life is like with friends. That's my best friend. So there's all these different reasons why we as women aren't connected. And there's not any conferences. Like, I literally looked up online. That's why I came all the way to Arizona. I was like, where are the conferences? So long story short, we're having one this November, right before Thanksgiving, for 2 days in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. So if you're close by, come. If you have to fly in, like, let's work it out. But anyways, I decided I wanted to have this event because I saw Lindsay and I stood up for a question, and I just like felt like my calling. I just like seeing the 300 women. I was like, whoa, like this is what it's like. And I don't know, I just immediately was like, I have to bring this to Nova. So anyways, that's like my goal is to like have 25 to 30 women. I said 50 at first, and Ari was like, let's be more realistic, like it's your first event. But our why behind it is we want women to rest, reset, and reconnect, and to like get to their why in life. Just like you said, Lindsay, like it's so important for us to like know our why, because when we know our why, like we can't be stopped. Like we do our thing and we don't care if other people like it. So I try to do it really quickly. It's November 19th to the 21st, and I'm so excited. There's a heated pool in the house we rented. So I'm just very excited. But I'm also like looking for advice. So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you, Lindsay. And anyone else that has advice, feel free to message me.
Yes, everyone, like, and Tori, maybe drop your Instagram handle in the chat so they can connect with you. So your question being more like advice for where you're at right now and getting this retreat to where you want it to be in November, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. With my first event, you just jump and you do it, which you're doing that already. The thing you really want to focus on, and this is for any of you who want to create live experiences, events, things of that nature, you want to think more about who it's going to serve, what's like the meat of the content for them, and the things that directly tie into helping you deliver that experience. So while like now the Powerhouse Women event has grown to where it's got beautiful designs and stages and all these things, that's not ultimately like the meat of what makes that day special. It's connection. So the biggest advice I can give, and this is for any of you, regardless of what your big goal is, you want to get feedback from the people you're creating it for. Because I'll never forget, there was one year where I wasn't sure if we were going to get like this really big speaker locked in for it. And I was so insecure that like, okay, I don't know, do I have enough value to add? And what happened was I went back to the feedback and everyone said they were looking for connection. And I was like, oh, why am I putting all this pressure on myself to be like this amazing person when all they want to do is connect with each other? So I would get feedback from the people as they register, ask them what they most want to get. And then you and your business partner think about, okay, what could we do to deliver that outcome? Like if nothing else goes right, what can we do to make sure we deliver that outcome? And there's so much more I could say. I'm totally happy to like, you can DM me and we can go back and forth on jam on this a little bit. But I'm so just freaking proud of you for going home and being like, no, this needs to happen. So.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So here's the deal. I see a few other hands raised. In the interest of time, we're not going to take any more questions tonight, but you are welcome to send me a DM and I'll send you a voice DM back and answer your question, and we'll make sure we get it answered. But I want you to be able to connect with each other in just a minute. But are you guys ready to know who won tonight? Who's the winner of the giveaway? Okay, I feel like we need, well, we can't do a drum roll, so maybe give me like some spirit fingers. This is gonna be our pretend drum roll. Okay, so the winner of tonight's giveaway, which is an annual membership to our Girl Gang community. And if you're here, I want you to unmute so I can say hi and meet you, is Gina Seve. Am I saying that correctly? Gina, are you here with us? Come on down. Hi, Gina.
Hi. I literally, okay, this sounds so weird, but I totally manifested it. I kept saying, I'm going to win something today. I'm going to win something. So thank you.
Okay, so Gina, here is what you need to do. Just, you can, and Hannah, maybe you can let us know. Do you need anything from her, or do you already have like her email? We'll wait. We'll see what Hannah says in the chat. She's going to make the magic happen. And we will get you all set up. Basically, imagine this energy once a month and on like other amazing calls. A lot of these women are already in the Girl Gang and we can't wait to welcome you. Oh my gosh, how fun. So exciting. Okay, she doesn't need anything. You're going to get an email. So we'll take care of you. So here's what we're going to do. Do not forget this week, guys, I keep messing with these dates. This week, Thursday, same time, same place. Make sure you're getting the email reminders. Make sure you are connected in so you don't miss the call, because we're doing another giveaway and we're going to build on what we talked about tonight. So Thursday, the 23rd, And I can't wait for that. But we're gonna spend just the next 10 minutes. And here's always what I say, even if you can only stay for 2 minutes, say hello and meet some new women. Here's what we're gonna do. If you've never been on one of our connection calls to do this little breakout room exercise, it's really just the most fun. It makes the call seem just like so much more intimate and small, because you'll get to connect with 4 to 5 other women who are on the same journey with you. So in a few minutes, and Mandy, no, I don't think the calls are capped at 100, because right now we have over 100 people. So we like upped our Zoom account so that we had enough space for all of you. So we should be good. But make sure to come early, because I don't know if any of you had trouble getting in today. We're still kind of working this out. So, okay, we'll look into all of that and we'll get it fixed. So, okay, great. So it looks like it was fixed and we'll be fine moving forward. This is why everyone needs a Hannah, right? So in a minute, you will see a notification pop up asking if you want to join a breakout room. You just click yes, and then it automatically spits you, and it's randomized, which is really kind of fun. It's like a blind speed dating for girlfriends. It'll put you in a group with a few other women. All you need to do, so everyone's just going to go around and you're going to share your name, where you live, a little bit about like maybe what you do, and then just share what's the goal that you think you're going to be using as part of this experiment. If you don't have it nailed down yet, don't worry. The group can actually help you get through that. But maybe set a timer, just have each person share 2 minutes, literally that's it. And then if you want to keep connecting afterward, absolutely go for it. Just make sure to let people hop off if they have to go do like mom things, dinner, etc. Get to the rest of their evening. So in a minute, you're going to see that notification pop up. Happy connecting. I can't wait to see you all on Thursday. And this is going to be so fun. I'm so proud of you for showing up tonight. Okay, mwah.